Mr. Ambassador, suggestions there that actually the Tigray forces may not have been involved in crimes on the ground. What's your response to what you've been hearing?
It's really sad and very unfortunate. I mean, you can have a right to your own opinion, but you cannot have a right to your own facts. And the facts are known. The facts as established by Amnesty International itself, which cannot be accused of being pro-government. Amnesty interviewed witnesses. These witnesses, multiple witnesses, were very clear. There were attacks committed by the fleeing TPLF forces, the defeated TPLF forces, before fleeing, massacred people, not using bullets, but using atrocious means to slaughter their own compatriots. This, in any form, cannot be acceptable in any civilized country. So please, let's not enter into unnecessary debates and falsehoods. This has been clearly established. It will be investigated, and believe me, it will also be prosecuted, and those responsible will be brought in front of a court of law. This cannot be acceptable in any case.
Mr. Ambassador, though, let me ask you a little bit about the blocking of roads inside the Tigray region. I know you've already said that there are plans to bring in food for those in need, but at the moment, why is food and medicine being prevented from getting into the region? I understand borders there have been closed since the 4th of November.
Well, it's, first of all, the areas have to be secure. Secondly, as you know, and as was reported, the TPLF junta is purposely destroying infrastructure in order to stop the advance of our troops. But as I said, we are well now on progress to making sure that food and aid is delivered. That will be delivered very quickly. And as the situation stabilizes, and especially as the operations winds up, which we believe will wind up in a couple of days, things will get back to normal.
Monsieur l'ambassadeur, bonjour.
Bonjour, monsieur Boisbouvier.
Ce mardi 2 mars est un grand jour pour l'Éthiopie. C'est le 125e anniversaire de la bataille d'Adwa contre les impérialistes européens. Mais Adwa, c'est au Tigré. Et aujourd'hui, le Tigré traverse une très grave crise. Est-ce que cet anniversaire n'est pas aussi un jour sombre?
Cet anniversaire est un anniversaire qui nous rappelle que nous, les Éthiopiens, lorsqu'on est unis, on peut surmonter tous les défis. Et Adwa, la victoire, il y a 125 ans, nous rappelle que l'unité éthiopienne a permis de défaire une armée moderne et surtout de faire reconnaître par la communauté internationale de l'époque qu'un État et une nation africaine est l'égale souveraine d'une nation européenne.
Le problème, monsieur l'ambassadeur, c'est que 4 mois après le début de l'offensive de l'armée fédérale contre les forces dissidentes du TPLF, les témoignages d'exactions s'accumulent. Le dernier en date, c'est le rapport d'Amnesty International qui affirme que les 28 et 29 novembre dernier, dans la ville d'Aksum, des centaines de civils ont été tués de sang-froid.
Alors, ce n'est pas une attaque du gouvernement fédéral contre un groupe dissident, c'est une attaque perpétrée et reconnue par le TPLF. Ils l'ont reconnu eux-mêmes. Le 13 novembre, ils l'ont revendiqué eux-mêmes. Ils ont attaqué les forces fédérales. Et qu'est-ce que doit faire un État digne de ce nom lorsque son armée est attaquée aussi lâchement? Il s'est défendu. Et en se défendant, bien évidemment, cette situation qui nous a été imposée a créé une situation malheureuse pour la population. Donc aujourd'hui, effectivement, il y a un certain nombre de rapports qui sont faits sur les violations aux droits humains. Nous prenons ces allégations très au sérieux, quelles qu'elles soient, et nous avons dit que nous sommes prêts à accueillir des enquêteurs internationaux qui viendraient nous épauler pour faire toute la lumière sur ces allégations sur le terrain. Et qui que ce soit est responsable de violations sera traduit devant la justice.
Peut-on envisager une commission d'enquête de l'ONU à Aksum?
Notre position est que nous sommes un État souverain. Il y a la Commission éthiopienne des droits humains qui est une institution qui a démontré son indépendance, son efficacité. Elle mène une enquête sur le terrain. Elle a fait déjà un rapport préliminaire où elle a effectivement constaté des violations. Nous tenons à ce que on renforce ces institutions. Donc renforçons les mécanismes nationaux avec l'appui d'experts internationaux.
Selon de nombreux témoignages, le massacre commis à Aksum aurait été commis par des soldats érythréens.
Ce sont des interviews qui ont été données à distance et dont certains témoignages sont mis en doute aujourd'hui puisqu'il apparaît, ce sont des individus qui ne sont même pas sur place ou ni dans les camps de réfugiés mais qui sont aux États-Unis. Ce que nous disons, c'est que faisons une enquête sur le terrain avec, si besoin, la présence d'experts internationaux et faisons le constat sur la réalité telle qu'elle est.
Aloula Abteab, c'est-à-dire l'administration intérimaire du Tigré, dénonce elle-même des destructions commises au Tigré par l'armée d'un pays voisin, sous-entendu l'armée de l'Érythrée. Alors, n'est-il pas temps de sortir de l'ambiguïté ?
Écoutez, toute cette crise a été provoquée par l'attaque, encore une fois, du TPLF le 4 novembre. Lorsque le TPLF a attaqué et a tué nos soldats lâchement, nos soldats ont fui, ils ont fui vers l'Érythrée. Et nous sommes très reconnaissants pour l'Érythrée d'avoir hébergé, nourri et permis à nos soldats de revenir et de nous aider à rétablir l'ordre constitutionnel dans le Tigray. Donc il faut mettre les choses là aussi au clair. Les allégations de présence érythréenne ne sont pas prouvées. Il y a des allégations qui sont faites par des activistes. Nous, ce que l'on dit, venez sur le terrain, enquêteurs internationaux, avec nos enquêteurs, et puis on fait un constat sur le terrain.
Politics, first and foremost, should be about ideas in any mature democracy. It should not be about identities. People stuck on identities should at least try to elevate themselves. That doesn't mean that we abandon our culture, our language. That doesn't mean that you can have differences and diversity. So this idea somehow of saying, because we advocate unity among the Ethiopian people, somehow we are against the federal system is false. It's a false narrative.
One final question. I'll put it to you, Gérard Prunier, and that is, well, the language is hard. And with previous debates that we did specifically on Tigray, it was even harder. What is it about Ethiopian on the hashtag F24 debates? There's quite a bit of vitriol. Why is it so hard, this language?
Because this is a multinational empire where people are trying to live together and they have not found the recipe. Basically, you know, some things are absolutely amazing. Some of the closest ally of the present government are people who tried to overthrow it in 2019. You know, they had a coup during which they killed the chief of staff of the army. And now they're the best allies of the government. You know, so it's just playing games with a variety of ethnic identities. You can say they don't exist, or you can say this one is more strong than the others. But the fact that some kind of a magic recipe exists, you say there is no silver bullet, it's unfortunately very true. This is why the decision of attacking Tigray on November 4th last year was a catastrophe. Because, you know, anything but.
It was not an attack, it was self-defense.
No. It was not self-defense. No. And I'm not even sure that the attack against the Northern Command ever existed at all.
But they said it themselves.
Oh, yes, of course. If the government says it, then it's true.
No, the TPLF leadership said it themselves.
Okay,
Mr. Sekou Touré Getachew went on local Tigrayan TV to say it on 13 November.
Good.
And then I think
and so
another leader confirmed it.
It was unfortunate,
Why is that
but it had to be done. Okay.
Let's get more on what is clearly a controversial topic. Henock Tefera joins us, Ethiopia's ambassador here in Paris. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for joining us here in France 24. We appreciate your time. The Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi, who's now, of course, leading the African Union, says the people of all three countries concerned have a right to water, food and health. Do you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. We agree so much so that Ethiopia, which generates about 86% of the Nile waters, currently benefits from 0 drop of water. For us, it's a matter of life and death. 65 million people in Ethiopia, that's approximately the population of France, have no access to electricity. This situation cannot go on. So as a matter of survival, we believe a win-win solution is possible, and that can benefit not just Ethiopia, but the region, all the riparian countries as a whole.
Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi clearly making it plain to you that if Egypt's water supply is affected in any possible way, there could be very dire consequences. Are you confident this can be avoided?
We're confident that through negotiation, a win-win solution can be found. We have an AU, African Union-led process that is in place. We believe that this dam, which will which is built solely to generate electricity, meaning it will not retain any water except for the period of filling the reservoir. This dam will benefit not only Ethiopia, it will also benefit the Sudan, it will also benefit Egypt. So really, we feel that the concerns are misplaced. We can all benefit from it. The biggest concern that we should have at this stage is rather a climate change one, because as you know, deforestation will affect and is affecting the flow of the water. So Ethiopia has embarked upon a major campaign to reforest the region. It is planning to plant 6 billion trees this year. It had planted 5 billion trees last year. So really together we can make the whole riparian area a win-win for all of us.
You're making it sound very positive from your perspective, and I can see and hear, and I know there is a need for this electricity that you're talking about to help everybody across Ethiopia. It is vital that that happens. Nonetheless, what you're saying isn't calming the concerns of people in Sudan and Egypt, even though you say it's win-win.
No, I think that what has to be understood is that this dam is meant to generate electricity and electricity alone. So the flow of the water will not be affected. And as a matter of principle, Ethiopia, which has never been able to use a single drop of the water of the Nile, although it generates 86% of the waters, whose population lives under poverty, whose 65 million people do not have access to electricity, they need to develop as well. They need to have food on the table. So it's really, it cannot be one side wins and the other side lose. We can come up with a win-win solution that satisfies all of us. That, I think, and that we believe is the way forward in the 21st century.
Killing many people, and by the way, using also child soldiers. So we hope that the Friends of Ethiopia and the international community at large will condemn this and say that enough is enough. But Ethiopians want to live in peace.
In terms of these competing narratives about exactly what triggered the breakdown of peace talks, we also have the attacks on the air raids on Mekele, which reportedly, one of those airstrikes struck a kindergarten where four people were killed. So,
but again, it's important to look at the sequence of events. First of all, it is the TPLF which launched the attack and occupied the Kobo area, namely in the Amhara region. After that, there were reports by TPLF sources, by the way, because the government is not in Mekele. There's no independent confirmation possible of what happened in Mekele. We believe they staged that to make believe to the international community that our army is somehow intent on perpetuating crimes against its own population, which is not true. Our army is very disciplined. It is working for its population. And as we speak, our army is defending the populations in Amhara against TPLF forces that are trying to advance and displacing populations and killing civilians. So it's very important to get the fact right. Like in all wars also in Africa, you have to say who started them. It's important to say who is initiator. The origin of the conflict matters. Like in November 2020, it was the TPLF, but we're not hearing it. And that, for many Ethiopians, is really something that is difficult to accept. When one side perpetuates an aggression, when one side perpetuates a violent attack, it has to be condemned.
But I think one of the problems is we have two sides saying that it's the other side who started it, and a continued inability to have access to the region. So there can be independent verification as to what's going on.
But the facts are not disputed. Like in November 2020, they came on regional TV, on Tigray TV at the time, to say why they launched what they termed a preemptive attack.
But no, let's talk about what launched this most recent.
Yeah, but even that one was not condemned as it should have been by the international community. And initiators of conflict should be condemned, and it was not done so. Today, on the 24th of August, they invaded the Amhara region in the Kobo area. Nothing from the international community, especially from the media, to say this is an aggression that was committed and the truth was broken by the TPLF. That helps to find a political solution. That helps to put pressure on the TPLF so that it understands that only a political settlement is possible. If you put two warring parties on the same footing while one is the aggressor and the other is the victim, you have a problem.
Alors, vous le savez, monsieur l'ambassadeur, les journalistes n'ont pas le droit de se rendre dans les zones de combat, mais il semblerait, selon des sources diplomatiques, que les Tigréens, que les rebelles ont effectué une percée en région d'Amara, vous le disiez, reprenant plusieurs localités faisant reculer l'armée. Est-ce que vous nous le confirmez? Quelles sont vos informations sur le terrain?
Alors, en effet, comme vous le soulignez très bien, ils ont attaqué la région d'Amara, dans la région de Kobo, en déplaçant, en tuant des populations, aussi pillant, en allant d'ailleurs de maison à maison, des villageois et les villes avoisinantes. C'est bien évidemment une tragédie que la communauté internationale se doit de condamner. Jusqu'à ce jour, on attend la condamnation de la communauté internationale parce que ça compte qui commet une agression contre des populations civiles. Aujourd'hui, notre force armée très compétente défend et les forces tigréennes ne progressent pas. Mais effectivement, ils sont aux environs de la région de Kobo notamment et ils sont dans leur attitude belliqueuse de vouloir à tout prix imposer par la force, par la guerre, soit le retour au pouvoir qu'ils avaient exercé de manière autoritaire pendant plus de 27 ans, soit, s'ils ne peuvent pas le faire, détruire l'État éthiopien et bien évidemment, en conséquence, produire une catastrophe humanitaire sans commune mesure. Donc il incombe à la communauté internationale et à ceux qui se disent les amis de l'Éthiopie de condamner les actions belliqueuses et que le TPLF accepte la main tendue de l'État et de la population éthiopienne pour une solution négociée. C'est une solution négociée seulement qui permettra de sortir de cette crise. Malheureusement, ce n'est pas le cas et nous ne pensons pas que ça sera le cas puisque le silence de la communauté internationale, à cet égard, encourage le TPLF à continuer dans ses actions belliqueuses.
Alors, on va parler justement de la communauté internationale puisqu'elle a condamné les bombardements à Mekele. L'UNICEF et la Commission européenne, en tout cas, l'ont fait. Des bombardements qui ont touché un jardin d'enfants et tué plusieurs
Alors,
enfants.
nous démontons formellement cette information. Aujourd'hui, Mekele est contrôlé à 100% par le TPLF. Donc, il n'y a pas de vérification indépendante possible. Nous savons également que le TPLF manipule les informations. Ce sont les gens du TPLF sur place qui orchestrent cela. Donc nous n'acceptons pas cette caractérisation. Notre armée est une armée disciplinée, c'est une armée du peuple. Et nous n'acceptons pas qu'on salisse son image. Surtout, comme vous l'avez souligné, il est en train de défendre des populations civiles dans la région Amara, alors qu'on parle pour que cette population-là survive.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur Henock Tefera Shawl. Vous êtes, je le rappelle, l'ambassadeur d'Éthiopie en France. Merci d'être venu sur notre plateau.
Merci beaucoup, madame.
Merci.